Hi guys, and welcome to my most requested video in a very long time. I'm going to be showing you exactly how I manage my money and finances on Notion and Excel. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Before we get into the different platforms I use, I want to talk a little bit about what I track and also, importantly, what I don't track. So I use Notion and Excel to track a lot of things. I track my savings and my saving goals, my debt and my debt payments. I also track my subscriptions, my repeat expenses, my monthly category spending, and finally I also have reminders on there. And then for the things I don't track, I use TriCount to split my expenses with friends. So whenever I go on a trip, for example, or for my flat expenses that I share with my boyfriend, I do TriCount to split those and see who owes what, essentially. To track my credit card, I have all that on the Amex app, so there's no reason for me to track that on Notion. It would just be like double doing it, I guess. And finally, I do run my own business. That's how I earn my money. I am self-employed. So to track and manage business expenses, I use Xero. It's an accounting software, and that just basically has all that information on it. So there's no reason, again, for me to track that on Notion or Excel. And I also want to say, in regards to my debt, I do track my debt spending, I guess you could say, like what I pay out of my account every single month. However, I still rely very much on my student loan page to see exactly how much I have left, because Notion does a really bad job of calculating percentages, so I don't rely on it like for that at all. I make sure that I keep updated on my actual loan page. So don't rely on Notion to calculate loans. Yeah. Okay, so let's log into my Notion and I'll show you everything I got on there. Welcome to my Notion page that I call Money Hub. Everything that's on this page will make a lot more sense after we go through everything, but I'll briefly tell you what is on here. So when you download this template, which you can do in the description box below, you'll understand what is going on. So first here, I have all my big saving goals kind of lined up and the progress those saving goals have. And that is linked to the savings page on my Notion. So once you add your savings in and the numbers, it will automatically kind of say the progress. I also have all the different pages lined up here, as well as some reminders when it comes to money, like paying my phone bill and paying into my stock shares ISA. So that's that page. Now let's move into income reports. So income reports is essentially a page where I track my income. I'm self-employed, meaning I earn different money basically every single month. It's never stable. So this is the way that I essentially track my monthly income, track what clients I work with, track what they pay me, what month the work is done, what month the work is paid, if it's invoiced, all that kind of stuff. So if you're not a freelancer or you're not self-employed, then this page might not be that important for you. But if you are, this is the page that I've been using for over 3 years now, like you can tell up here. So it's been very helpful for me to keep track of everything and make sure that I'm on top of what I'm actually earning, on top of the invoices, all the kind of stuff like that. So let me show you how this template works and how I use it. So the first thing you would do is you would type in the client name. So let's just call them XXX. Then you would type in the money you're getting for whatever work you're getting. So let's say £1,000. You would also say the month the work is done. And I like to track it in this way because as a freelancer or as self-employed, you often do work in 1 month and then you get paid like 3 months later. So I like to keep track of what I earn in 1 month and what I also like get paid in 1 month as separate things. So yeah, let's say January, why not? And for a month this is paid, let's say March. The next thing on here is whether the project has been invoiced yet. So let's say, yes, it has been invoiced. And so when there's a lot of stuff on here, it can be really helpful to just have that button in the different colors to see what things that are due that haven't been paid or what things that are due that haven't been invoiced yet. And so you can just keep doing that, keep adding more clients, and the numbers will automatically calculate the total sum for the year. And one thing I did to this page that I think is super, super helpful as well is I like to see how much money I earned each month. So not the money I was paid, but the money I earned by doing work. So you can do that super easily by just going to view and clicking January, for example, and there you go. You made £1,000 with client X in January. So that is that page. I think it's a really helpful one if you're self-employed or you have little side hustles, you have multiple forms of income that you want to track. This one is really, really good. And by the way, I've been self-employed now for 6 years, and I just want to take a moment to say that working for yourself is not always easy. There's so many things just like this. You kind of just have to like learn and figure out, and being on your own with that can be kind of daunting. So I'm so excited that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry pros across film, illustration, freelance design, and so much more. And if you want to take a career or side hustle to the next level, then Skillshare is the perfect place to start. I've been taking part in this learning path for creatives called Pricing and Negotiation for Creative Freelancers, because as a creative, it can be so hard to know what to charge, how to negotiate, how to price yourself, all of that. And so what a learning path does is that it provides a curated set of classes that builds on one another so that you can save time searching and have a clear direction of exactly how to master that specific skill. And Skillshare has so many different learning paths, from learning how to use Notion to growing your own YouTube channel. So if you have something new you really want to learn this year or a new skill you want to develop, then Skillshare can help you go from novice to pro in no time. The first 500 people to click the link in my description box below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So give it a go, try it for yourself, and let me know how you get on. I feel like you can tell it's January because the sun is setting so fast. So I'm gonna put up some lights and then I'll be right back. Put that there. Okay, let's continue. So the next page in my directory is my savings. And I'm going to show you how mine looks because I think it'll be quite interesting for you guys to see before you get to go and make your own. Welcome to my little savings hub. This is where I keep track of what I save every single month, but also my saving goals. And you can see all my saving goals in this little top gallery view table right here. My goals include to fill up my stocks and shares ISA. I also want to save for a house, so that's there. My rainy day saver is there, although I have met that goal, so that is complete, as you can tell. And I also want to save into a travel fund, and I want a lot of money on there just so I can go and travel and don't worry so much about like expenses, because that would be an ideal situation. But yeah, I have my goals there basically. And then down here I have my savings tracker, which is where I input what I save every single month, and I save towards a couple different things every single month. They change depending on my priorities. So in the past couple of months, my priorities have been travel fund and mortgage savings. However, in the past, as you can tell right here, it was filling up my rainy day saver. So it changes a little bit, but I track all that there. And I also split it up in different things. So here you can tell what I have been saving for travel. And what I did is that I linked these two pages together. So essentially, whatever you see in the savings tracker is automatically inputted into the saving goals view. So it makes it super easy for me that it's just all automatically done. I don't have to think about it. It's just automatically updated whenever I input my numbers. So let me show you how everything works, because there's two tables at the same time here. It might be a bit confusing. The first thing you want to do is you want to update your goals. So let's say your first goal is you want to buy a flat, and the second goal is you want to save into a rainy day fund. Cool. Then you want to input your numbers, so what this goal actually entails. So let's say your goal to save up for a flat deposit is 50K. You can also choose here what kind of type of goal it is, if it's a future goal, if it's just a one-off. For example, my travel fund was a one-off thing. That should just automatically then kind of calculate itself. So you can also add an emoji if you want, but that's pretty much it. And let's do the rainy day fund as well. So let's do a rainy day emoji because that makes sense. And then goal amount is 5,000, let's say. And that is also for your future. So now that that's done, we can now start tracking what we're saving every single month. So you basically just add the month that you're saving for. Because these two tables are linked, as I just explained, you can just input here which goal you were saving for that month. So let's say you're saving for your rainy day, and then you input the number and it shows you your progress. Super cool. Oh, and by the way, I have this done button at the corner here, which is clickable. So you can just click it once a transaction is done, because as much as Notion is a really good place to track your numbers, doesn't do bank transactions for you. You need to do them yourselves. So yeah, I keep that there to just click when the bank transfer is done and that payment that I put in this Notion page has gone through essentially. And let's say your goals suddenly change and you want to save a little bit more to buy a flat or for your rainy day. You can also just go into the savings progress right here and change the total goal amount. Yeah, very straightforward, but I just love this way of looking at my savings because it makes me really motivated to see the progress right there, right in front of me with emojis. Because the other way of doing this, right, would just be to have your money in your bank account and you would see like, yes, I have 5,000 saved up, or yes, I have X amount saved up, but you don't get reminded of your goal there. You don't get reminded of what that money is actually going to be used for. So yeah, I just really like this way of having my savings, and it motivates me to keep saving every single month and track my savings so I can get those progress bars up and save for my goals. Okay, next up we have my debts. And the only debt I have is my student loan essentially. So it's a very bare page. Notion is not the most ideal place to track your debts, I'm not gonna lie. However, it is useful in some way for me to keep track of what I'm paying down that loan. I just like tracking it just as I like tracking my saving goals. So yeah, there you go. How this page works is super similar to the savings page. So essentially, you just create a debt that you have. So again, let's say student loan. And yeah, then you can pretty much just do exactly what we did in the savings tracker. So add the month, add the amount, and then also add the year 2024 and connect it to the loan. And then it should automatically just update just like that. And same as in the savings tracker, I also keep a done button here just to keep track of whether the transaction has actually gone through. So yeah, super simple template, just keep track of the payments that I make towards my loan. Moving on, we have the final page on my Notion, which is repeat expenses. This is where I keep track of subscriptions and all kinds of repeat expenses that go through my bank account. And the reason I have this page and the reason I think this page is so important is that repeat expenses and subscriptions, if you don't regularly go through your bank account, you'll just forget about them. And that's so much money that you just forget you're spending and it's going out to your bank account without you knowing. So having them here, having them visually, seeing how much they cost you every single month, every single year, it's just so nice to remind you of, what you're spending and also whether that is actually worth it for you. So yeah, let's go through this template. I'll show you mine and then I'll show you how it works after. So if you haven't been able to tell already, all my pages kind of look a bit similar. They have the same kind of structure with the gallery on top and the table below. But yeah, these are a couple of my repeat expenses. And the way it's organized is that on top you have the different categories. So for me, that is personal repeat expenses and mandatory repeat expenses. And the personal, as you can tell here, include everything from my Amex to my gym membership to my Nespresso subscription. And my mandatory expenses include everything from my phone bill, home insurance, travel insurance, that kind of stuff. And every time I get a new subscription, be that, Spotify or Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever, I will add it to this page. And if I get a trial, for example, I can also add the renewal date on here. So it'll tell me when I need to cancel the subscription by to not pay the price of the new subscription. And then I also put in how often I'm charged for the subscription and it calculates the cost for me. So let me show you how this would work in practice. First, you need to choose a couple of categories. So let's say you want the first one to be entertainment. And then the next one is flat costs. And the third one is essentials. And then now we add a subscription. So let's say you're subscribed to Netflix and the category would then be entertainment and the renewal date is tomorrow. Why not? Now you choose how often you're charged for the subscription. So I think for Netflix, it would be like monthly. And the cost of that, let's say it's like £10. Automatically, the table calculates how much that will cost you every year. So that's 120. And the reason I like this table so much, as I kind of explained earlier, is just the fact that it keeps you aware of how much you're spending on subscriptions, because £10 here, £20 there, £15 there, it gets forgotten in all of the other transactions you have across a month, right? However, when you have it written out here and you can see how much that is costing you every single year, or all your entertainment costs are costing you every single month, it kind of brings it to the table how much you're actually spending on these things. For me at least, it's made me cancel a lot of my subscriptions and a lot of my repeat expenses because I didn't realize how much money I was spending on them. And then I saw this table and I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that was all the pages that I had on my homepage on Notion. Now let's move on to Excel. Welcome to my budget that I have to keep myself accountable of what I'm actually spending every single month. Everyone does budgets differently. I used to be a little bit more strict with my budgets and now I am a little bit less strict because I know roughly what I should be spending on different categories in my life. However, every other month or so, I like to go through all my expenses just to see what money is going towards, because it's nice to have that overview. I think everyone should get comfortable with looking through their bank statements every other month, every third month, just because you forget about what's on there and you don't realize how much you're spending on different categories, and going through your budget and reviewing it will help you. And this is the budget that I created to really easily be able to see what I'm spending on different categories and if I'm overspending. And it's based on the 50-30-20 budget. So the budget basically says that you should spend 50% on needs, so things like rent, bills, subscriptions. You should spend 30% on your wants, so that's things you want right now, like coffee, eating out, shopping, beauty, hair, those kinds of things. And then you should also spend 20% of your income on your future to pay down debts or to pay into your rainy day fund, mortgage savings, stuff like that. So at the end of the month, I will look through my bank statement and I will pretty much just add up the sums of different categories. So I know my rent that I pay is 1,300. I know my bills are roughly like 200. My subscriptions, we can just go back and see that right now, 337. My insurances, what was that? That was 133. And on grocery, let's say I spend £200 on grocery. Then we can do the wants, and I'm just gonna add in some random numbers here. 100 on coffee and bakery, 200 on eating out, shopping 200, beauty and skincare 200, other 200, £500 into my rainy day, and 200 into my stocks and shares. Random numbers, but here we go. As you can tell, every single time I update a number, the graph on top and the little table updates. So let's say I go through a month and I've spent, instead £500 on shopping. It was a crazy month, right? The wants category will automatically update to 29.5%, and then everything else will go down. The percentages will just automatically update. So I think it's a really nice way to keep track of yourself and briefly to your ability follow the 50-30-20 budget. I know it's difficult, at least for me, because my rent is so high because I live in London and I've chosen to pay more for my rent. So that is slightly higher than what it should be. So I think on average, probably my budget is more like 60, 20, 20. But yeah, I just think this way of looking at my spending gives me a really nice overview and keeps me on track. And just make sure that I know what I'm spending and categorical percentages of that, I guess we could say. So yeah, that is it for all the ways I track and manage my money. You can find the templates for my Notion page and my Excel sheet in the description box below. So I hope those will be really useful for you, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!